Welcome to Phonogenics 101, a Riotboy production hosted by Jeremy Gloff. The podcast where people who love music discuss albums track by track. Please hit subscribe, and if you'd like to support this podcast, patreon.com/Jeremy Gloff or Venmo @Jeremy Gloff. And now, on to the music. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. My name is Jeremy Gloff from Tampa, Florida. This is the podcast where we take an album and we discuss it track by track. We cover the entire discography of an artist from the first album to the last, and we talk about it every song. I'm here with Tadia and Richard. Anything you guys want to say to the listeners today?
Well, I think that this album is something that is interesting to talk about because it's sort of like a hidden gem. People who knows Emmylou Harris or not like that are not Blood fans might not know about this album, and I don't know why. I don't understand why. We're going to discuss that now, but I will say that this is a special album for Emmylou and for the fans as well. If you listen to it, you will understand. But this was an album that Emmylou Harris worked a lot on, and it is still dear to her still to this day. And it's kind of sad that it didn't hit it like some of her early albums, because in my opinion, this should have been a hit, but it didn't produce any hits. But the album is very good. This is a very good Emmylou Harris album.
I guess White Line snuck into the top 40, and that was about it.
Right. Richard, do you have any thoughts?
Well, again, I bought Ballad of Sally Rose when it came out, and I can't say that I listened to it a whole lot when it came out, but, I've really enjoyed revisiting it here. And I bought the one with the outtakes that came out a few years ago. Yeah.
I got my two CDs.
I know. I couldn't find my CD, the one with the outtakes, but I was able to listen to them again on Apple Music. And I really love the outtakes on this. I know we don't generally talk about those, but I love them, especially like there's one of them where it seems like Emmylou is doing all the harmonies herself on it. Sounds like it anyway. Is that true?
That's true. She did all her harmonies and some of it. This is an album that I want when people are talking to music talking with me about music and Emmylou Harris. This is one album that I want them to listen to when I was like, so I always I have a buddy who works for a record company, and I have tons of Sally Rose that I give away to people. You need to listen to this,
Yeah.
If you don't listen to this, we're not going to talk anymore, So,
well, damn, Toddy, I didn't have that demo version. I spent like $90 on it. I wish I should send you the money instead of Discogs.
Well, I would have sent you a few for free.
Oh, well, what can you do?
It's out of print, sadly now. It was re-released in 2017. It's out of print for some kind of reason now, but the LP is still getting produced, but not the CD. LPs are more popular now again,
right,
as well. So,
well, this is the LP that came out when it came out, and I looked at it, the fine print where it said it was available on LP and cassette, but I didn't see any mention of a CD release. Was there one in '85?
Yes, there was an album, a CD released in '85, and the irony is that the album that was released the next year, called 13, was not released on CD, but this one was. However, the Ballad of Sally Rose was an album that had been in works for years by the time it was released. She started to work on that album and the demos in 1982.
Wow.
And she recorded the album in 1984. And she recorded 13 at the same time. She recorded both albums at the same year.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Overlapping with each other?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. But this album was a very expensive album to produce. Very expensive. It was top musicians. They used a lot of time in the studio. And she was really, really hoping that this would be like the big next thing for her, because As she said herself, she kind of like regretted that it didn't make it to be like a movie or an opera, because that was the thing she had in mind about it. It's a story, and it's a story that is like some fiction and some about her and Graham Parsons. She has like sold the Graham Parsons story into like an opera, So if you read the story in the album, you will kind of like understand more of the songs, what it's about, because it is about a girl called Sally Rose. And
Who
Sally,
apparently was a name Phil Kaufman made up in a bar in South Dakota.
that's very true, and that was her ally's name that she would use for years, to kind of like keep when she was booked into hotels, they were like book her as Sally Rose, so people wouldn't like follow her and think that it was Emmylou. There was this woman coming up to them and say, "Hey, is this Emmylou Harris?" And talk to Phil Kaufman, and he would say, "No, that's not Emmylou. This is Sally Rose." And they kind of like had a they had fun with that, and used that. She actually had a guitar strap made to her by I think a fan or something that she used for years before Sally Rose was released. It said Sally Rose on the guitar strap. And she also had a big tour for this album. She really went out and promoted it on radio stations, on TV shows, sang the songs. The whole concert was about singing. Half part of the concert was performing the whole album from start to finish, and then do her hits on the second part. So people like enjoy it. The
Yeah,
tour, yeah.
Jeffrey Himes, his last chapter in his book begins with him at that tour in the Kennedy Center.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
so
So
it's like
this is the original poster of
yeah,
the Kennedy
yeah.
Center.
He reproduces that in the book
Yeah,
and in black and white. But
yeah.
he said actually the first half of the show was the
It's
songs, and the second half was Sally Rose.
right. Yeah, it might be in that order. But anyway, it was a very expensive tour, and she had to work hard after that tour, and she was so drained and tired. She said because it almost bankrupted her, you know. And this is the first album she made after moving out from California, and she moved to Nashville. It was a restart for her. Um, she had divorced. She was now writing and producing with Paul Kennerly, who had obviously um, produced and released the albums White Mansion and the Legend of Jesse James.
Mm-hmm.
And she sang on that one as well. That was in 1981, I think, I believe, or 81.
Somewhere around there. On the Jesse James she sang on. Did she sing on White Mansions?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. But Jesse James, she did. And Paul Kennedy was a British producer, songwriter, artist as well, who was very, very good at what he was doing. But Emmy, she had the songs for this album before they started to work on it. And by the time when they started to produce the album, she had in 1983, the year before they started to work on this album, she had produced an album herself by a female artist called Delia Bell. And Delia Bell was a bluegrass singer. And Emmylou, she produced the whole album. She sang backup on it and used the Hot Band as the backup band. Very good album. If you need to check it out if you don't know Delia Bell. And so that's the first time Emmylou started to think that she could produce a little bit. So she put on the producer glove here, and she produced this album by herself with Paul Kennerly for the first time ever in her career.
Well,
And so it was a lot of work put into it. And actually, look here, guys. I'll tell you, I'll show you this as well for the fans and for you guys. This is the original Sally Rose tour jacket.
oh, cool.
Wow.
This is the jacket Emmy wore herself. And it says here, the boss.
No.
There's a fan that sent me all her tour jackets when his wife passed away. She had them. She had collected them for years.
Wow.
Yeah, guy from California.
So for this album, a lot of the backstory you can find it online, but I'll just add a couple more things in. Didn't Emmylou hear Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska album, and she took a lot of inspiration from the sparseness and grittiness of that album when writing these songs, correct?
Yes.
That's what I've heard.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Nebraska. She, I think that was the album, Bruce Springsteen album, that she kind of like sort of discovered Bruce Springsteen, so to speak.
That came out in 82, I think.
Oh yeah, so and that was like a demo album as well, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like we should, when we get to each song, if we want to talk about the demo version compared to the studio, that's totally cool. On this podcast, we're certainly not interested in gossiping about the artist's life or talking about their personal stuff. But when discussing Emmylou's work, she herself writes and performs in her own blood a lot. And she weaves a lot of her own story into the work. So to discuss her work, you have to discuss her personal life. It's inevitable. And a big part of the story of Sally Rose is that her and her first husband got a divorce. This was such a new start for her. She moved across the country. This is the first time that her vocals were recorded by a different producer than Brian. She had a new look for the album. So this is, even though during White Shoes she cut her hair during that tour, this is the first time on an album cover you get to kind of see the new Emmylou. So I feel that all the things that happened in her personal life really coincided with the freshness and the excitement about this new project for her. It really was a new start in so many ways. And I think that's important to the story of the album and her as an artist.
Kind of like a reinvention thing going on here.
Right.
And massive production, massive production. And to say, I think that, when you look at the credits of the people who sings here, I think that this album actually led to the trio album, because here Linda Ronstadt and Dolly Parton is singing on the backup vocals here.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read in the CD, do you have the CD?
Yeah.
I have it, but I couldn't find it, so I'm going to have to try to find it again.
I think Dolly Parton has the liner notes where she says that, this was a very important project for Emmylou.
Yeah.
It's too bad that, this was actually the first tour that she had female backup singers.
Right.
Oh, was that the Kennedy, Pam Rose? And
Yeah. Kennedy Rose was the name of the group back then. Yeah.
Is this the only tour that she ever had backup singers on, or did she ever do that again?
I saw her with Kennedy and Rose at a much later date.
She toured with them, but only usually as a four-piece band or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that was much later though.
Yeah. No, but there were, and in case you haven't heard the live stuff that's been done here, I'm quite surprised they didn't release that as well, because that is as good as the album. She did a show in Cincinnati, and that was recorded very, very well recorded for radio.
Ah.
And you can hear the whole show. It's still online. You can stream it, and it's beautiful. And you can really hear that the band is really well rehearsed. The backup singers are well rehearsed. It sounds like the albums, almost like studio versions.
Wow.
That's how good it was.
Well, cool. Another thing is, like, you think of the year 1985. That's right when, that's the middle of the 80s. So 1985, you had, We Are the World. Madonna was doing her Virgin tour. Prince was promoting Purple Rain, going into Around the World in a Day. We're coming out of synth pop, Brit pop, going into, hip hop was coming out. So Sally Rose came out, right literally in the middle of the 1980s. So does anyone really know what was going on with country music at that point on the charts? I don't.
Richard, you remember that more than me.
Well, it's interesting. When did I guess right around a little bit, when do you have the sort of new traditionalist movement? I guess 85 or so is when Steve Earle's first record came out.
Okay.
So you have kind of the beginnings of the sort of new traditionalist scare. They used to talk about the folk scare. That was kind of a new traditional country music scare for a while, which that's what led up. I guess by '88, Rodney Crowell had 5 #1 country hits on Diamonds and Dust.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think that this is the era where you had the alternative roots country coming out, which we are today calling Americana. But I think that was the time where you had Dwight Yoakam, Lyle Lovett, you had Nancy Griffith, and all the people coming with the alternative kind of country.
Yeah. I was listening. I discovered Nancy Griffith then. I went to see her in 86 or something like that. So
very good.
It's interesting because Emmylou's especially the first era of her career, the year 5 was a huge, those 10-year increments were huge for her, because Pieces of the Sky was 75, Sally Rose was 85, and then Wrecking Ball was 95. So like these big landmarks would always fall like in the middle of the decades for her.
Ooh.
So, this is, 10 years since Pieces of the Sky, 10 years before Wrecking Ball. And it's interesting because I feel like on Sally Rose, you hear some of the first signs of what would come later. You start to hear little inflections and little production choices, just a tiny bit, that would kind of show you where she would go with Wrecking Ball and then the latter part of her career. So I feel like this album is just so important. So what do you guys think of the cover art? It looks different than previous Emmylou albums, of course.
I
Uh,
think I like it.
I like it too. I think it's cool.
I like it.
And
The album has raised letters that you can feel them.
they do, yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely like the photo of her to be a little bit bigger because Emmylou Harris is a very beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Right.
Even in profile, she looks nice from the side.
Hmm.
Oh, and
Yeah.
you know what? I did make a mistake. Between White Shoes and this album, Profile 2 came out. And that would have been the first album where she had her short hair on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Riquet did that hair, and
yep,
yeah. And I like the back of the album here where she's wearing her using
Yeah.
pink her
Yeah.
pink Gibson guitar that was given to her by Paul Kennerly, and he had it painted and customized it for her tour.
well, I know one of the things Emmylou said in retrospect is that with a concept album, the record company, the first thing they thought was no singles. And I do agree, it's hard to pick out a single out of kind of a continuous story. It is a little bit more difficult. And I do think that for better or worse for this album, the songs all are kind of central to the story. So all the songs are better as part of the story. And I think it would be hard to pick a single out of this album. Uh,
Yes, it is. And I would say the only thing that I think I regret about this album that I want to point my finger on is that it's so short. It's only like 28 minutes or something like that.
Mhm.
It's a very short album. So when they re-released it with the demos, I was like, yes, that makes sense.
right.
Yeah, the songs are not very long.
All right. Well, shall we go into the track by track discussion here?
Yes, sir.
My
Sure.
I got these glasses at an expo hall in San Antonio. I don't think I like them that much, but I can't find my other ones.
Are they readers?
Yeah, they're my readers.
I got mine right here.
I want like square ones, not these cat lady lenses.
I like.
Okay.
I can't see the print on the inner sleeve without the readers.
Well, the album opens with the title track. It's in 3/4, correct? They're talking about kind of setting up the story. South Dakota, Roosevelt's nose, Sally Rose.
Mhm.
You can definitely hear the 3-part harmony. Is that Dolly and Linda in there?
Yes, it is.
So, kind of a little foreshadowing of the trio that would come soon. It's a really beautiful, really earthy, kind of bluegrassy opening.
Yeah,
What do you guys think of this song?
I like the song. And it kind of like open the album, and you have to listen to the lyrics to kind of like the more you listen to it, the better it gets.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I like. I guess the myth that is. I guess Sally Rose is was born on a reservation. Is that true? She's an Indian.
I feel like this is like 60%. Like she only took like 50% of her true story into this, right? Tadia, would you say?
Right. But I think that's an interesting
Right.
origin for her.
I think that it's kind of the native story that her parents of Sally Rose was her father was a Sioux Indian and her
Yeah,
mother
Sue.
was yeah.
Yeah.
Sioux? Is that what you say?
Sue.
Sue.
Sioux.
Like Susie
Yeah.
and the Banshees.
Yeah, Sue. That's how it's pronounced.
Oh, that's how it's pronounced. Oh, not Norwegian. Okay. Sioux. He was a Sioux Indian. And so the story goes that she was left there in a reservation because her parents were young and they left her. And she was raised by those people.
Oh, so she's not. She's not Indian herself.
She's half Indian, I think,
Okay.
if that allows. Half native, and and her best friend was the radio, so she would listen to the radio. And when she got older, she sang around and she met the singer, which obviously would be Graham Parsons.
Right.
And he took her on the road and they started to sing together. So that's where he comes in. But I think that, she mixed in this kind of a story fiction thing on top of it to make it exciting. Emmylou Harris's story is as exciting as anything. So it would be enough to just put the real story in there, but I think that she wanted to like lift it up to a more like fantasy story.
Yeah, she doesn't have her daughter with her anywhere in here, does she?
No.
Uh, I
That
don't
was
know.
that was so interesting, though. I mean, like, because when I would see her at Child Herald a couple of times, Holly would be there because I guess they didn't have a babysitter or something.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Beautiful girl.
So, yeah, I feel like it's a good opener for the story.
Yeah,
Like we mentioned, it probably wouldn't stand alone as a single on the radio without out of the context of the album.
I don't think.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it would.
But hearing Emmylou's songwriting here, and she co-wrote it with Paul, most of it, right? If not all of it.
Yeah, she mostly wrote the songs by herself. He just helped her out.
Okay.
Yeah, he claims that she'd done much more of the work than he did.
You can really hear like some of the inflections that would come out in the full open when she do Red Dirt Girl many, many, many years later. Because Emmylou kind of has a signature style and melody that's unique to herself. So uh, I'm so
The
glad that she did some songwriting.
difference on this album and the previous albums is that she wrote all the songs here. She
Right.
had
Yeah.
songs since, I don't know. I think she wrote the last song she wrote on Luxury Liner or something, Tulsa Queen.
Tulsa Queen. I think there's 3 songs that she wrote prior to this album.
Yeah,
Tulsa Queen was a co-write with Rodney, right?
Yep. And then Boulder to Birmingham. And what was the third song? I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Amarillo.
Tulsa
Amarillo.
Amarillo, also with
And
Rodney, and,
yeah, but
Boulder
yeah,
to Birmingham with Bill Danoff of Country Roads fame.
true. But she wrote, I think, 5 or 6 songs on Gliding Bird. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. She didn't have any originals on the other albums.
No.
Wow.
she kind of like took some time off to write this album because, as she have said previously, writing for her takes time.
Yeah, much as I like this song, though, I think as a songwriter, she grows by leaps and bounds by the time Red Dirt Girl comes out. Those songs are
Oh,
are, are amazing.
Yeah.
yep.
And I know we're jumping ahead, but I kind of put Red Dirt Girl right up with Wrecking Ball as far as quality and importance.
Yeah, Reddit.
Um. All right. So, any other thoughts on Ballad of Sally Rose, the
No,
song?
it starts. It's opening the story where she came
Yep.
from. Yeah.
Yeah, and it even comes full circle when she gets the radio station at the end. You
Yeah.
have her hearing the things coming out of the radio. So it's thematically it works really well in terms of the sequence.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, the second song, when I first heard the album, now I remember I talked about this in the last podcast. When I was buying the CDs and collecting Emmylou in the early 2000s, the Sally Rose CD was a little bit harder to find. It wasn't as common as some of her other stuff. So I think I might have had to get an import or pay a little bit more money for this one, along with White Shoes. These were the two that were a little bit harder to find at that point.
Yeah, and that version of the CD you're talking about had a very low volume sound on it.
Yep. Yep. Which is interesting because it says a digital recording on the top.
Mhm.
The second song, Rhythm Guitar. This is a song that I liked the first time I heard the album. It's a more up tempo. It kind of has a swampy groove a little bit. It doesn't sound like any other Emmylou Harris song that I can think of.
No.
It almost goes into Bonnie Raitt territory a little bit. I feel like with that like kind of like the steady beat. This if it's not my favorite song on the album, it's one of my favorites. I just think it's I really like the up tempos on this album. What do you guys think of rhythm guitar?
I think it's cool that she has Waylon Jennings playing the rhythm guitar on it.
Yeah. Oh, and he does such a good job.
Yeah, yeah. And he doesn't sing. She just had him as a studio musician playing a guitar. He was a very good guitarist, Waylon. But yeah,
Does the CD have song by song instrument credits? Because I couldn't find that. Like
uh,
I can see everybody who's on the album, but I can't tell who played on which songs necessarily.
No, it does not. No.
no.
I'm just want so you, but Waylon Jennings plays the rhythm guitar on it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it from I think she said it in an interview or something.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It is really cool. And she had recorded with him previous, they did a duet on Evangeline, Spanish Johnny. And
Hmm.
they did a duet, but this time she only had him on guitar.
And the demo's interesting because it's totally like her on a drum machine, which is so lo-fi but pretty cool.
Huh?
I love the harmonies. I think this one has a good hook. Probably my favorite song on the album. Because sometimes when I'm like heading to work and I want an up tempo to listen to pick me up, the
You
song
say this is a song that you really like, huh? Yeah. This is the song I skip the most.
really.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, that we love the album, but we have different favorites. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you haven't gotten to my favorite yet, so.
Oh.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on rhythm guitar?
Well, it's a good song, and it talks about playing rhythm guitar, which she is really good at
Right.
herself.
And adding the third, which she's also super great at.
Exactly. Yeah, she sings about herself, and Sally Rose was a good guitar player, and so is Emmylou. Very good guitar player actually. She doesn't get enough credit for that.
And what were the three singles from the album again?
Two or three.
White Line,
Timberline
Timberline.
Fine.
and White Line, Timberline, and which was the other one? Was it Woman Walk the Line? No. Or was it rhythm guitar maybe?
Because I'm surprised rhythm guitar wasn't a bigger hit.
Hmm.
All right.
Uh, it was rhythm guitar.
Okay. Interesting.
White Line released February 85, rhythm guitar June, and Timberline October.
Interesting. So they really spread out those singles too.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're right. It is a good song. I should listen to you more.
Yeah. All right. So then the album moves on. Um, I think I love him with a little instrumental of "You Are My Flower." This is a really short song. It's an acoustic. It's really pretty. What do you guys think of this one?
Beautiful song. I think
Yeah, it's beautiful.
wish it was longer.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's too short.
It's short, and the live version is longer.
Yeah.
Live version is longer. So yeah, I wish they didn't ease it out. Like it soften it out and like drift away. The ending of the song. I wish it would just go on and
Yeah.
on.
It's the only song where she's the sole writer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's got on the inner sleeve of the album, it puts Emmylou Harris in parentheses, I guess to indicate that Kennerly didn't help her with that song.
Hmm.
I don't think that song is not on the demos either.
Right.
Yeah. But it's too short.
Mhm. It is short, but it's a beautiful song. It's a
It is.
beautiful country song, and then have the "You Are My Flower," the Mother Mabel picking in the end of the song is beautiful. I like that.
So then the story continues with "Heart to Heart." And Richard, isn't this your favorite song on the album?
This is my I think about my favorite song on the record. Yeah. I like this. It's I'm not sure why, but
Oh, I think this is one of my favorite Emmylou Harris all-time songs.
yeah.
Mm. It's a very good song.
Right.
I think she said to me that she had played that song in a couple of weddings.
Oh,
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It is a love song and not a sad love song.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
when I was listening to that, I said if I'm going to perform a song off this album, I think that's going to be the one.
yeah.
That song.
Now, does she play any of these songs on her tours at all? Did any of these songs ever come up in her set? Never, right?
never, um, never. Well, she did do a few shows with the Nash Ramblers in the 90s where she would put in like 4 songs from the album.
Okay.
We usually do Sweetheart of the Rodeo, but she did do Heart to Heart and a couple of other songs. And I was very surprised when she sang Sweetheart of the Rodeo at the show I was with Spy Boy.
Oh, okay.
Like, wow,
Yeah.
she was in that mood that night. She said, "I'm gonna pull out my evil twin tonight," or actually, "I'm the evil twin." She said, "This is Sally Rose," and she jumped into the song.
Wow, how cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but not often that she pulls out these songs, But I wish she could because they're still good to this day. They have stood the test of time, really, really well.
Right.
But heart to heart is a waltz.
Yeah.
Usually, Emmylou, she says, never do a show without a waltz. You
Right.
always have to have a waltz. God knows if you don't do a waltz.
That's right. I love me a country waltz, and I think I learned that from Emmylou.
Mm. So you dance with your wife to this one, Richard?
Ah.
I would, but I was listening to it this morning, and she said, "Is that Emmylou Harris on the cover? It doesn't look like her." I said, "Look at it closer." She said, "Oh yeah, I see that."
That's cute.
All right, so the next song, Woman Walk the Line. Tonight she's going to do some drinking. It's interesting, when you hear the demo version of this, you really hear how it's like an Emmylou song, even more so than the recorded version, I feel like. But I like this song. What do you guys think of this one?
Beautiful song. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful song. And Trisha Yearwood actually re-recorded that song, and she had Emmy do the harmonies on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Was it a hit for her, or was it just on an album?
I'm not sure if it was a hit for Trisha, but it should have been. I think Woman Walk the Line is a beautiful song, and you can hear Dolly and Linda and the harmonies here.
Yep.
Guys, if you don't know this, if you go to YouTube, there is a guy who have filtered out the harmonies for Ballad of Sally Rose, where he has blocked, what do you call it? He has isolated the vocals.
Right.
So you can hear which part is Dolly, which one is Linda. And you
Oh,
can,
wow.
they are all over the place. Until you don't know it until he does that. Like, oh, wow. So anyone who wants to hear where Linda and Dolly is on this album, go to YouTube, search for Ballad of Sally Rose isolated harmonies, and you will hear it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of people doing that, picking their productions from each other. You know, I don't know what I feel about that, but
Right.
actually it was interesting to hear that, you know. I think that this album led up to Trio.
Yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
planted the seeds.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking to Richard before you came on the podcast, Tadia. I feel like, Emmylou's voice had recovered from White Shoes. I know it was tired on that album. But I feel like there's a different kind of vibrato on this album. Like almost like a slow, wavering vibrato that wasn't present on her earlier albums. And kind of, this is the first time you hear that. Do you hear that at all? Richard didn't notice that, but I feel like I heard it.
Absolutely. Her vibrato had changed. Her vibrato in the early 70s was very fast, almost like, Joni Mitchell or John Baez. And then when it came here, her voice had changed. It has matured, after years of singing, touring, and it's kind of like a new voice you hear here. Same
Right.
as happened with Breaking Ball. It was totally different,
Another voice, yep.
Another
I guess
voice.
she'd been on vocal rest before she did this too, probably.
Could be.
They discovered those nodes on her vocal cords in '83, so
Yeah.
probably she had to rest her voice a bit.
Yeah.
That's what they said in the book, yeah. So for those who don't like to hear that Emmy was struggling with the voice, that's what is said in the book.
It's just
Yeah.
part of her story. It's part of her story.
Which is
All right.
very-
So the next song, another up-tempo, Bad News. I feel like this one, it's a really quick song. It's kind of just telling the story. A lot of Emmylou overdubs of her own background vocals. I feel like the production of this is a little bit cluttered. I think I might prefer the demo version. Well, there wasn't a demo version. There's like a TV version. What does that mean? I noticed the drum sound, the snare sound is different between the two versions.
Well, that one, I wonder if that was, you're talking about the demo album that
Right.
didn't. Yeah, I think that is actually from a commercial, TV commercial.
Oh, really?
Cool.
I think so. But Bad News, yeah, that tells a story about, her music partner in a car crash, with Johnny Walker, the whiskey by his side.
Right.
The drunk and crash. So that is not really like the true story of what happened to Graham Parsons. Well, I'm sure Johnny Walker was by his side, but
Right.
it was a car crash,
It deviates.
Yeah.
He seems like more like a Jack Daniels kind of guy to me.
Yeah. It could be. I'm not an expert on those terms.
Well, what's interesting is, though, that the song that she and Graham wrote together for Grievous Angel, In My Hour of Darkness, one of the verses on that recounts the death of Clarence White, who was hit by a drunk driver when he was loading his equipment into his van. And so he's another young man safely strung his silver string guitar. That verse is about Clarence White.
Wow.
So maybe she kind of doesn't want to have, Graham die of a drug overdose in the Joshua Tree, so she displaces it onto an automobile accident.
Right.
Could have been. And the sound of this song is pretty cool. It reminds me kind of like a little bit of Ain't Living Long Like This.
Oh, okay. Like an 80s version.
Yeah, the rocker sound of it, because this is like a rock and roll song number on this album.
Yeah. Well,
But
Ain't Living Long Like This came out in 79, didn't it?
78, I think.
78. Oh, hers is
Yeah.
78. Yeah.
yeah, well, I think that this song, as you said, Jeremy, this song, Bad News, wouldn't make sense to have as a single. Because
Right.
you know what she was singing about if you didn't know the album.
The story, right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because as a song itself, like it has a great hook. I feel like it would have been a hit had it been able to be separated from the album.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be
19
fleshed out. It'd have to be fleshed out a little bit, though, too, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool that the layers of vocals that she adds to it, because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then next is Timberline, which is beautiful both in its studio and demo version.
Yeah. I like this song.
I think Timberline is a very, very nice country song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a sweet country song. I could definitely see this as a hit.
Yeah, and I feel like this
But
one
it
might have.
wasn't, was it?
It wasn't released.
It was released as a single.
Oh, but it wasn't a hit.
I don't think so.
Hit and miss.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the song does work outside the album more so than some of the other ones.
I love this song. It's beautiful.
Beautiful song, yeah. And the harmonica in the background as well is beautiful.
And it's a great way to end side one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually in the show that she does, where she did tour Sally Rose, she says that, okay, so now we're going to side 2, and then she starts this.
Nice.
Well, this podcast is all about albums, and so I always like, that place where the album flips is kind of really important.
When I sequence an album, because I still release music, I still, in my mind, have a side 1 and a side 2. Because I feel like telling a story in 2 parts is so much easier than doing the arc over 14 songs. So I still organize them like you're flipping over the record somewhere in between.
Oh.
Yep.
Do you make LPs?
No, but I should.
Well,
it's expensive to make those.
Yeah, they're expensive.
You gotta get a Kickstarter and have people pay for it before you can put it out.
Yeah, I feel like we are so like GoFundMe Kickstartered out right now that I don't want to add to the noise. All right, Long Tall Sally Rose, up tempo, kind of a barn stomper here. What do you guys think of this one?
Well, this is not the Long Tall Sally. Long Tall Sally that Little Richard had.
Yeah. Oh. Call Uncle John, Long Tall Sally.
He saw me. Yeah, not to be confused with.
It's not that one. It's Long Tall Sally. I think this is the bluegrass song on the album.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Ricky Skaggs had a great number with this song. Actually, a great cover. But Long Tall Sally is also one of the songs I think is too short.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you listen to it in the end of the song, you can hear the band like cheering, hey, in the background. You can hear that they're having a good time in the studio playing the instruments here. I think it's a great song. It is as great as Roses in the Snow for me.
Really?
Yeah. I really like it. I put this song on loud when it comes on.
So you go down side 1 and you end with Bad News, and then the aftermath of Timeline, really. And so side 2 picks it up. You got to have some dancing. Got to have
Yeah.
You got to pull yourself out of it.
Yeah.
It's like a barn dance song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
next was the biggest hit from the album, White Line. This is another one that's kind of I don't want to say a rock song, but how would you describe the style of this song?
I think it's a country song.
A country song, country rock.
Country rock, yeah,
Kind of
with
reminds
it.
me of like a Dire Straits song, which is interesting that she would work with Mark Knopfler many years later.
So strange that you said that because that's what I said the other day about the song to a friend of mine. I said this is like sounding like a Dire Straits song, and she should have done this song when she was touring with Mark Knopfler.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like this subject matter song is stronger within the context of the album. So it was such a great song with a great hook. But once again, I think the lyrics didn't stand alone as much as they do within the context of the album.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess
Well,
it's
you know, when you do a concept album, you've got to manage the narrative and the motifs and stuff. And I think this one really serves its purpose in advancing the narrative and in pulling some of the themes together, you know. Um, and I guess it stands alone well enough that it was at least the single from the album that barely reached the top 40, but at least it, hit the charts
right.
somewhat.
yeah. Yeah, I think that this song is the song that this song and Sweeter Off the Road is the song that should have been the hits.
Right.
And interesting what you said about the vibrato.
Yeah.
Vibrato.
Yeah. Uh, it's very obvious that her vibrato is very slow in this song. You can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here it's where you hear it most of all the songs.
And I wonder, did her voice change or is it because her vocals are being recorded differently by a new producer? You know what I mean? I wonder if it was a little bit of both. Because different producers do get different sounds out of their singers. And this is the first time we heard her with a different producer since Gliding Bird, really.
Yeah, or it could be that she didn't put so much strain in her voice, that she was relaxing more,
Right.
so this is how her voice actually is.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you can say about her vibrato, she sings very well on this record.
Yeah, very well.
She's whatever misgivings you might have had about her voice in White Lie, the White Lies,
White shoes?
White Shoes, sorry. White Shoes, White Line, White Lies.
By time.
Yeah, I think her voice is really under control and showing that characteristic and inhabiting of the songs that we love Emmylou for really living inside the song and conveying its emotion because of the fact that she seems to be feeling it at the moment.
She did use this song in like all the way up to 88 in her set lists.
Okay.
And you can actually see her perform on the Austin City Limits. She played a show there in 87, I think, on the Angel Band tour.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly she burst into that song after one Angel Band song. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So then we go on to Diamond in My Crown.
Oh yeah, that has a good lyrics to it.
Yeah, it really does.
Um, I like it. I think that song is kind of like showing what's going to come later in her career. Yeah,
Right.
and when it comes to her songwriting, it has this kind of like mysticism in it and kind of like poetic words in it, and at the same time, it has that alternative country sound to it,
Yep.
very Americana song.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts on this one?
I love it.
I liked it. I mean, the diamond in my it's got that kind of traditional bluegrass sort of feeling to it too. Diamond in my crown sounds like something the Carters could have written.
Right.
Yeah, I did record this song actually, and I sang it in church with the church organ. And
Wow.
the reason I did that, I got that idea is because I heard Patty Loveless recorded it.
Right.
Emily sang harmony on it, just with a church organ, that the old one you would be pumping the air in it.
Yeah, yeah.
That listen, go search for "Diamond in the Crown" by Patti Loveless,
Oh,
and
Patty
that
Loveless has a beautiful voice.
she has a real mountain voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't
All
she
different.
married to Emery Gordy?
She's married to Emmylou Gordy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He did all the strings on this. He did the string arrangements on this album.
Who did it?
Emery Gordy.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was in, because at the time I think Emery Gordy was not in the band anymore.
Yeah, but
They were still recording together.
yeah, he gets, not only does he get special thanks, but it says strings arranged by Emery Gordy.
Hmm.
So
And he became a big producer himself later. He would
yeah,
produce.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, he's a big producer.
All right. So next we have Sweetheart of the Rodeo.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
big, great shuffle.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that.
And of
I like
course, it
yeah.
becomes you know, any allusion to Graham Parsons becomes explicit with this song too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great country song. And it's actually Emmylou, Dolly, and Linda on all the harmonies here, just the three of them. I think that on Sweet Chariot actually had Gail Davis singing harmonies as well.
Okay.
And for those who don't know Gail Davis, check her out. I mean, like her album, she has done tons of great work.
I've got two or three of her albums. Yeah, she's good.
Good singer. I
Good
was
songwriter too.
lucky enough to meet Gail Davis in April on Phil Kaufman's 90th birthday. Emmylou Harris brought her along with her because they're very good friends. And so they were sitting there on the couch, and I just walked up and talked to him, and I didn't see that was Gail Davis sitting there.
Uh-huh.
I was like, and I looked at her, I was like, this is something familiar. I said, are you Gail Davis? And she said, yeah.
Aw.
That was pretty cool.
I guess you kind of got a sideways little feet illusion in here with Tom being in the song too. You know, Willin.
All right. So the next one is KSOS. Another one, kind of an up tempo. There's a little instrumental medley at the end. I feel like once again with these songs, it's just kind of really telling the story. So it's hard to talk about them track by track for this album. For me, a little bit, because really it's just one narrative across all the songs. This one, they're talking about the songs being played on the radio. Didn't Sally Rose settle near a radio tower?
I thought she bought the radio station.
Yeah, she bought that. That's right. She bought the radio station. KSOS.
KSOS, yeah, and that is, I think that KSOS has, that's a cool song. That's a cool, the lyrics are maybe,
It's cool call letters too.
Yep.
yeah, yeah, but
Yes,
it has, I think that the ending is, which songs are it? I think 6 Days on the Road is one of the
they're in the
songs.
middle. The songs are in the middle.
Yeah, the instrumentation are
Yeah,
different, three different
and
songs.
it's Ring of Fire, Wildwood Flower, and 6 Days on the Road.
Isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah, it's real cool.
Uh, Great, well-known songs. She just put them in the middle of her own song.
Right.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Because she's there. She wants to run that country station, come out with some traditional country, whatever you can say about country music. Traditional country was kind of on the wane in the 80s. So your people like, even with the resurgence of George Jones after he stopped loving her today, you find country radio is less and less willing to play the old people. That famous ad in the where Johnny Cash thanks the Academy for his Grammy Award, and you see him go like this.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an ad for his American recordings, the things he did with Rick Rubin, and they won a Grammy Award for it. And he says Johnny Cash would like to thank the Academy.
Oh.
Wasn't it a song that was a hit by a female singer called "I Was Country When Country Wasn't Cool"?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Barbara Mandrell or something, or Donna Fargo. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I remember that song. I'm trying to remember who did it.
I kind of
But, I
feel
mean,
like Emmylou is one of those,
Yep.
When country wasn't cool.
That's true.
What's cool about KSOS and also as a songwriter, you can kind of write your narrative of maybe a path you wouldn't take in your life. So I'm sure there's a piece of Emmylou that in 1985 would have loved to bought a radio station, just kind of settled down and, you know, played, shared the music with the world. So she kind of got to write a different version of her story that she wouldn't live in real life. And that's the exciting thing that you can do as a writer. So I totally could see Emmylou doing that in a different time and place,
Yeah.
just disappearing next to a radio tower. All right,
Yeah,
so
I think that the sentiment though of wanting to kind of save classic country music from what's actually going on the radio those days is pretty it's a statement. I mean, I think it's a statement that,
right.
maybe it falls on deaf ears then, but with the fact that we have Americana being such a vibrant genre right now shows you that people love that root stuff.
And really, she did it in her own way. Like although she didn't buy the radio station, she did continue, promoting
Mhm.
country and bringing it traditional country to her audience.
Yeah, we get the Nash Ramblers not too
Yep,
long.
we get the Nash. So she might not have gotten KSOS, but we got the Nash Ramblers instead. So
Yeah, but I think that but the cool thing about Emmylou Harris, she was not her. The most important thing was not about being the most commercial successful artist. She stuck to her heart. If she
right,
was hardcore, she was a song champion, the first most of everything. And
right.
if it was a good song, she will always find a way to do it. It didn't matter what kind of genre it was. She will always pull it through. And if it was a great country song, she would do it. Vince Gill said that. Emmylou Harris, she was a kind of an artist. She is a kind of an artist that, shows you where it comes from. And
Right.
you don't know where you're going to go if you don't know where it comes from. You know,
Hmm.
I know we've talked about this on other podcasts, but I think the 80s were so hard for so many people from the 70s. I mean, look at the trio. Dolly's career, she had all her earthy 70s albums, but then what the hell happened to Dolly in the 80s? You know what I mean? She had those albums like Rainbow. Like, Dolly's music kind of became a hot mess in 80s gloss. Linda really, I mean, she did the big band albums, then she did the traditional albums.
Mexican, and she did opera. She was all over the place.
Hmm.
So it's interesting that Emmylou really just continued to kind of stay on course without, she never got stale, but she really just continued. It's interesting how different their journeys were. I don't think there's a right or wrong. It was just different.
Emmylou never compensate.
Right.
She is like, if she feels it, she's gonna do it, and it's gonna be hardcore. You know,
Hmm.
she's she's a great artist, and she knows exactly what she was doing. But I think that in hindsight, it's kind of sad that this album didn't become a big hit because she's put so much hard work into it, and she had recorded so many great albums, and this was like, okay, this is what she was gonna like prove where she was on the way now. Finally, she was doing her own stuff. Great big tour with more musicians than ever. An album she had written and produced by herself, and kind of like this should have been like the big masterpiece, but it kind of like got forgotten on the way.
Well, probably partly because of its virtues, partly because it is such a concept album that people have to really get this as an album, and that's possibly why the picking out the singles didn't work out so great.
Yep.
It's something you have to live with through the whole whatever it is, 28 minutes.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know?
Well, the album closes with Sweet Chariot. That's the end of the story of Sally Rose. What do you guys think of the closing track?
Beautiful song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful song. And the harmonies here are exceptional good. It just builds up or layers and layers of harmonies. And um, Emmylou is not doing the harmonies here, but if you listen to the re-release of the album, which has the extra disc with demos,
Yeah.
and it's Emmylou Harris with her guitar, and she does all the harmonies by herself,
Yep.
and it just shows how much of control she must have been. This the singers that did the harmonies basically just came in and sang exactly how she wanted it done. It's
Yeah,
just
well,
voices,
that
but the same.
demo is almost better than the track on the record.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
it's
love this, but that demo is stunning. And
that demo just shows how good Emmylou Harris is.
Yeah.
yeah,
It shows how creative she is. Yeah.
So, Richard, when Tadia wasn't on yet, you read an excerpt from the book. Would you want to share that? Because I think it's interesting.
I guess so. Jeffrey Himes's book In-Law Country has a whole final chapter called Ballad of Sally Rose. And it starts out with he attended the 85 show at the Kennedy Center. God forbid what it's turning into now, but he he says that essentially he says that let me see if I can find it here, that a work of art can never rely on external events for its success. A great work of art creates a self-contained world that can engage and move an audience, even if that audience knows nothing of the source materials. Um, Ballad of Sally Rose never achieves that self-sufficiency. It never gets free of its sources. The characters of Sally Rose and the singers are never developed sufficiently, neither through the lyrics nor the music, to hold our interest if we don't rely on the background story of Emmylou Harris and Graham Parsons. By contrast, the characters of the grieving woman and the dead lover in Boulder to Birmingham are so vivid, so compelling, that they would captivate us even if we had never heard of Graham Parsons. That's why the Ballad of Fat Sally Rose is a fascinating biographical footnote, while Boulder to Birmingham is a great work of art. Now, I'm not so sure I'd completely agree with Jeffrey on that, because I think the album is sort of better than just a footnote. But I guess I would have to say I agree that it's hard to approach the brilliance of Boulder to Birmingham.
Right. Well,
What do you think?
interesting.
Arya?
Yeah. What do you think?
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's well, I think that Boulder to Birmingham had a different meaning because when she was writing that song, she was grieving.
right.
So kind of like it's very heartfelt, and even that song is kind of like if you don't know the story, it's not easy to understand everything she sings in it. She
Mhm.
saw the canyon burning and all that stuff. So it's kind of like, you have to know the story, what she's singing about. But I think this album is more like about the whole story about an artist. That song was about grieving for a loss, for whatever. So it's hard to compare them, I think. That was about losing a person. This is about changing a whole life. This is
Right.
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
I don't
fair.
know.
I like
Uh,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, interesting. I'm glad that we took some time to revisit this album and kind of shine some light on it again. I know it was really important to Emmylou, but had whether the album was a hit or not, I feel like this album really, Emmylou could have gone in a lot of directions after White Shoes, but she did something very artistic, very daring. I think that laid the groundwork for her to continue to be daring, to take chances, to take risks. So not every risk pays off, but I think the fact that you establish yourself as a risk taker will always pay off, even if it doesn't right away. So I think had there not been a Sally Rose, there never would have been a Wrecking Ball. And
Yeah. Also, I think she reaffirms her commitment to country music with this album.
right,
Um,
And I
that
think
really will last right up until she goes in another direction with Wrecking Ball, which is equally brilliant, I think. But you get a lot. You get the Angel Band record and the trio records and the you get a lot of good country music from Emmylou Harris after this, and not so much the kind of all over the place direction that you had in White Shoes.
right,
I don't know.
well, I think that this album is a worthy of a Grammy. It should have been, but it didn't happen. But when it comes to albums of artists, through the years, I kind of feel like that this album sort of like is like she said herself is one of the best kept secret in music business. But it's also an album that has sort of like lasted, even though it wasn't a hit. It's kind of there, and sometimes that's even better than being a hit because it never turns old. And when they did re-release it in 2017, for those who don't know this album, they added an extra LP or an extra CD with the demos from the album, and it kind of like shows the album and sheds a new light on the album and the producing process, and how good those songs really were from the beginning. You know, they were really, really good. From even it was just her by her guitar and doing her own harmonies. I mean,
Well,
even if the album was released like that, it would have been great, you know?
I think so. I think maybe something the demos show is that it might have been possible to maybe pull back a little bit on the production on the main album
Right. And Paul
have,
Kenner really said that in some interviews that he thought he
have
went a
something
little.
that's even stronger. Yeah, he did. He
So
did.
on this album, you have, of course, you have the Hank DeVito, Waylon Jennings, Paul Kennelly,
Yeah.
Albert Lee, uh, Gary Scruggs, Linda and Dolly, Gail Davis, um, Vince Gill. I mean, like it's ton of spectacular artists backing her on this album. So go check it out to everybody. I would really, really want. This is one of the top 10 Emmylou Harris albums, I would say, maybe top 5. Go check it out.
So let's do the rating. Richard, Ballad of Sally Rose, what do you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
9.
For me,
I'll
it's a
give it
10.
a 9.
Aw, a 9. Tadia, Ballad of Sally Rose.
Oh, 10.
A 10?
Oh yeah, it's one of the best albums she ever did. Yeah.
I think I'd probably go with Richard. I'll give it a 9. I think she had, for me, there's like some huge masterpieces. This one quite isn't that, but it's close for me. So awesome. Well,
If you add the demos in, I can give it a 10.
yeah, the demos like really showed the sparkling talent of Emmylou as a songwriter that we wouldn't hear again till Red Dirt Girl.
I first encountered it without the demos, so it's like.
Well, I lied. She did a song on Cowgirl's Prayer in Open D that she wrote, which was a beautiful song.
But that's
I will beat your ass, come down and beat your asses if you don't give it a 10.
Oh.
There was
Cowgirl's Prayers after this, though, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying we got to hear her songwriting before Red Dirt Girl.
Oh, yeah.
But there was another fan that said that actually, and if anybody has any information on this, please come out with it. But he said that the song that she wrote, "A River for Him," that was released on Bluebird years later, was actually a outtake from this album.
Interesting.
But I don't know if that's true. So if Emmylou hears this, maybe she will arrest me.
Yeah.
I don't know, but.
All right, my friends. Well, we are going to meet again on September 21st, I believe. Let me look. Yep, to talk about the album 13. We have 2 more episodes of the season before we take a break for I'm not sure how long. But thank you so much. I'll get this online in the next couple hours, and I'm really enjoying this Emmylou Harris journey. What a great album. Sally Rose, she will rise again. All right. I will see you all soon.
Okay.